Hello, welcome to the Belk on Business podcast. This is Josh Belk, and I appreciate you joining the show today, and I hope to provide value to you on this episode. If you do get value out of this episode, please do me a huge favor and make sure to subscribe to this podcast. And if you're on Apple Podcast, leave me a 5-star review. Thanks again for listening, and enjoy the show. Today on the podcast, we're going to talk about reaching the fewer betters. Just yesterday, I teach third grade Sunday school. And so I was at church yesterday morning, and one of the charges I give to my third grade young men every year is I want them to become one of the fewer betters. And it's probably a terminology that you've heard, and it's one thing that I would love for my sons to become one of the fewer betters, to not be that type of person who just stands before average men. You think of it in a scriptural context, but somebody who's diligent in their business, diligent in their life, and one that excels and exceeds. And I want that for my own children. I know you do as well. But in business, I also want to reach the fewer betters. I don't want to have the type of business, and there's nothing wrong. There are businesses out there that they want to operate their business in a way that they want to reach everyone. Okay, and so if you're running a fast food joint, for example, we were just talking about fast food here just a few minutes ago here in the room, and why we don't eat it or try to minimize our eating of fast food, but for a number of different reasons. But if you're running a fast food place, I mean, you want everybody that drives by to pull through the drive-through line and order French fries and a burger. But if you're in a business, many times you want to get that book of business, that clientele list that really excels, so that you can bring them value, and in return they bring value to you. And you want to define that avatar. You want to be able to serve them well, and monetize well on it. So just a few thoughts on just reaching the fewer betters. First of all, does my product or service bring greater value than my competitors? Now, in my business, just recently here, starting to work on the process of redesigning my website. And so Robert, who is working on developing my website, I'll give a shout out to him. But Robert with Hatman Marketing, and he was working on my website. He emailed me over and he said, "Hey Josh, what do you like on your competitor's website, and what don't you like on your competitor's website? Or can you kind of maybe send us a link to a few of these websites and give us what you do and don't like?" And my conversation back to him was, you know what, I really don't even look at my quote-unquote competitor's website, because when I look around here at other accounting firms, for example, I really don't view any of them as my competitor, because I think that I'm serving an area that they're not serving, that I'm working with a clientele base that they're not serving or serving well. So I really don't view them as my competitor. But if you're in a place to where you do have a lot of competitors, you want to look at that element of value. Is what I am doing, is what am I bringing, whatever it is, if it's a product, if it's a service, am I bringing a greater value than my competitors? Secondly, does my pricing reflect my value, and is it affordable to my ideal customer, to my avatar? So when you're going through and you're trying to reach this ideal customer, is the value of what you're bringing, does it match the value that you're wanting to charge? Because I can go through and I can charge premium prices, but if I'm not delivering the value, I'm not going to reach those fewer betters that I want to reach. Okay, so there does need to be, and I'm big on bringing more value than the price that you charge. But ideally, you want those to be equal. If your value is lower, you're really bringing a disservice, and I'll be frankly honest with you. I think you're stealing from your clientele. Okay, so you need to at least be bringing in the same amount of value or more value. I get irritated by some of these people out there that have these $30,000, $40,000 education programs, and I'm like, you know what? You're not bringing the value. And if you're going to charge that kind of money, bring the value. And so you want to make sure that you're bringing the value that those fewer betters that you want to reach, the value that they're looking for, and then you should really be able to charge pretty close to that value that you bring. Secondly, does my combination of my avatar, product, service, pricing, and cost align to a model that's profitable? So when you go through and your cost of reaching those fewer betters, if you can't possibly make that up, then your business is not going to succeed. So you want to make sure that there's a really good alignment between your pricing structure to the value that you bring, to the cost that to be able to reach that clientele and to be able to bring the value. That all of those are aligned in a way that is profitable to your business. Number 4, what are my steps or hurdles to get to my goals? So you need to really be clearly defined on what are your goals, and then you also need to make sure that they align in some way to your client's goal. Some things in our business that we do every time that we are looking at a prospective client, we'll look at our core values and look at their core values to make sure that they are closely aligned. Because if they're not closely aligned, I am not going to be able to bring to them the value that they need. Okay, and vice versa. Okay, because I also look to my clients many times to bring me value, and many times that it comes through a learning curve. So they're able to teach me things. I'm able to learn things through them and with them and alongside them. So I want to make sure that I understand what my steps and hurdles are in my business to reach my goals, and then also to be able to clearly identify what are those steps and hurdles that my client has in order for them to reach their goals. Because if I'm able to take my client from where they're at to where they want to be, I'm going to be bringing them value, and they're not going to have a problem wanting to charge, they're not going to have a problem wanting to pay the prices that I charge. Okay, and if I'm able to do that and I'm able to get to the goals that I want to reach, it ends up being a win-win situation. Think of the old line that Zig Ziglar, and I'll end here, but I think of that line that Zig Ziglar used to give, and it was something like this: if you help enough people get what they want out of life, you'll get exactly what you want out of life as well. I hope this podcast was a help to you. I encourage you to subscribe to our podcast. Have a wonderful day.